Hello kids, I'm Priyanka and I'm back again with a new chapter. How far is a river? And this is written by Ruskin Bond. Between the boy and the river stood a mountain. The boy was young and the river was small, but the mountain was big. Like there was a boy and a river stood between a mountain. Okay, so one side was the boy, one side was the river, and between both of them there was a big mountain. The boy was young, the boy was too young, and the river was very small, but the mountain in which was in between them was very big. The thick forested mountain hid the river, but the boy knew it was there. The forest was so dense that it hid the river, but the little boy knew that there was the river in the opposite side of the mountain. He had never seen the river with his own eyes, and though the forest has covered the river, so he haven't seen the river anytime. But from the villagers he heard about it. Only he had heard about that river, of the fish in the water and of its rock. He wished to touch the water and know it personally. So he has always a desire that he should go there and touch the water rivers personally. He stood in front of his house on the hill opposite the mountain and gazed across a valley dreaming of the river. So he stood outside in front of the house on the hill opposite of the mountain, and he used to dream that how he is like crossing the valleys and mountains and touching those river. He was about 12 years old. At that time he was only 12 years old, a sturdy boy with untidy black hair and shining black eyes. He had fine features and black and clear brown skin, but his hands and feet were rough and scratched. He was barefooted. Barefooted, it means you are walking without any shoes or slipper. Not because he could not afford shoes, but because he liked to feel the warmth of the stone and cool grasses. So basically, he used to always be barefooted, means not wearing shoes and or slippers, just because it doesn't mean that he cannot afford the shoes. It is because he want to be barefooted. He want to feel the warmth of the stone and the cool grasses. It was 11 o'clock, and he knew that his parent wouldn't return home till evening. It was in the morning, it was 11 o'clock, and he knew that his parents will be coming back till evening. There was a loaf of bread that he could take with him. So at the home, he found a loaf of bread, so that he thought that I should carry this with me. On the way, he might find some fruit, and on the way, he must get some fruit also. And on the way he might some here was the opportunity he had waited for, and he saw the opportunity which he was waiting for. And that was the opportunity for, that moment he was thinking to go to the riverside. If he came home dark before the return, they wouldn't know where he had gone. And he was thinking that, like, if he goes to the forest and if he come back before his parents, so nobody would know that where he had gone. He went into the house and wrapped the loaf of the bread with a newspaper. Then he closed all doors and windows. So he carried the loaf of bread with him, and then he went away. The path of the river dropped steeply. The path of the river dropped steeply into the valley, then Rose went around the big mountain. It was frequently used by villagers, the woodcutters, milkmen, and the mule drivers, but there were no villages beyond the mountains nor near the river. The boy passed a woodcutter while he was going, so he passed a woodcutter and asked him that how far is the river. The woodcutter was a short but powerful man, but with a crease and a weather face and muscle that stood out in his heart. Ugly lambs. 7 miles. So he replied that it is 7 miles, which was fairly accurate. What do you want to know? So he asked, why do you want to know this? I am going to the river, said the boy. The boy said that I'm going to the river. And then he asked, alone? Of course, but it is too far. So the woodcutter said, but it is too far. You are going alone. It will take you around 3 hours to reach there. So if you go alone, it will take you around 3 hours to reach there, and then you have to come back also. It will be getting dark. Besides, it's not an easy road. But I am a good walker, said the boy. So the boy said that I'm a good walker, though he had never walked further than a mile from his own house to school. The path was steep, and the boy had to run most of the time. It was dizzy, windy path, and he slipped once or twice. The hill was covered with lush green ferns, and the forest trees were wound in the creepers, and the great wild dahlia suddenly reared in golden herd from the leaves and the ferns. Soon the boy was in the valley, and the path straightened out and rose. He met a girl who was coming from the opposite direction. So while he was going, he saw a girl who is coming in opposite direction. She held a long curved knife, and she was handing a knife in her hand, because she was cutting the grasses. The bangles she wore made music, and she moved her hand. So she was wearing bangles in her hands. So when she moves her hand, so it created a music sound. And it was tough that the hands spoke language of their own. How far is the river? So the boy asked to her also that how far is the river. The girl had obviously never been to the river, or she may have been keeping thinking of one another one, because she was 12 miles. She said 20 miles without any hesitation. So she said it would be 20 miles. The boy laughed and ran down the path. A parrot suddenly screeched, flew low over his head, a splash of red and green. The bird disappeared among the trees. A trickle of water came from the hillside, and the boy stopped to drink. The water was so cold and sharp, but was very refreshing. However, it seemed to have an effect of making him more thirsty. The sun was striking his head off the hill, and the dusty path became hotter. The stone crouching the boy feet. He was sure he had gone halfway. He had walked for over an hour. So it was like over an hour he had walked. So he was thinking that I have crossed halfway. Presently, he saw another boy ahead in him, diving a few goats up down the path. So then he's on the way. He saw one boy who was diving his few goats in the path. So he asked to him that how far is the river. The village boy smiled in a friendly way and said, "Oh, not far, just around the next hill, straight down." The boy feeling hungry, and then the boy was feeling hungry, so he unwrapped his loaf of the bread and broke it in halves, offering one portion to the village boy. They sat on the hillside and ate in silence. When they had finished, they walked on together and began walking and talking. So they had started walking and talking with each other. The boy not noticed the smartening of his feet and the heat of the sun and the distance he had covered and the distance he had to cover yet. But after some time, his companion had to diverge along another path. The boy once more on its own. He missed the village boy. He could not be seen. His own home was also hidden from a view by side of the mountain. The river was not in sight either. He began to feel discouraged. He was sorry he had finished the bread. He might want it later. He was determined to see the river. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and the terrace field, until there was no field nor huts, only forest, sun, and loneliness. Now there was no man or any sign of man influence, only the tree, rock, and the bubble and the flower, only silence. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. It was different from the silence of room or the street. It was a silence of space, of the unknown, and the silence of God. Then, as the boys rounded off a sharp bend, and silence broke into sound, a sudden roaring sound, sound of river far down in the valley. The river trembled over the rock. The boy gasped and began to run. He slipped and stumbled, but still he ran. Then he was ankle deep in a painful cold mountain water, and the water was blue, white, and wonderful. Thank you.